I, a chronic overpacker, can pack for 2 weeks in a carry-on only, so can you. Packing carry-on only does not need to be as difficult as it sounds. I have flown standby pretty much my entire life, which means I have also flown carry-on only pretty much my entire life. So I've learned a few things here and there along the way that are gonna help you pack for like literally at least 2 weeks in a carry-on only. And if you know me, I don't gatekeep good packing tips. So today I'm gonna give you my 15 best carry-on packing tips as I pack in real time in a carry-on only for a trip. We leave tomorrow. We're going on a short trip this time, just a few days, but I have packed carry-on only, like I said, for 2-week plus trips before using these exact tips. So I have no doubt that you'll be able to as well. But I thought, like, what a better way to go over my best carry-on only packing tips than to do it while we pack in real time. And these are not gonna be your regular run-of-the-mill carry-on packing tips. These are gonna be packing tips that are unique and that maybe you have never even heard before. And I have some unpopular opinions to share. So without further ado, number one is to choose the right carry-on luggage. Choosing the right carry-on suitcase should not be dismissed as one of the best packing tips that you can come by, because carry-on suitcases come in all shapes and sizes and they matter. If you're like me and struggle to pack light yet still want to pack carry-on only, then it would be wise to invest in a suitcase that maximizes the carry-on size regulations. The legal carry-on dimensions in the USA specifically are 22 inches by 14 inches by 9 inches. And that means that you should pick out a carry-on suitcase that completely fills those dimensions. I personally love my base carry-on roller. If you've watched my other videos, you know that I'm obsessed with this carry-on. And here's a little secret. It is technically bigger, just a little bit bigger than those regulated dimensions, which means of course it fills more. And even though it is slightly bigger than the regulated carry-on size, I've never had an issue carrying it on. I've never been questioned for it. So I'm just putting it out there that this carry-on, which is marketed as a carry-on, although it is slightly bigger than the regulated dimensions and therefore packs more, I've never had an issue carrying it on. Take that advice as you will. Otherwise, my family of travelers swears by Rockland duffel bags, soft shell duffel bags, to pack more in their carry-on. For whatever reason, we feel like those soft shell duffel roller bags can fit more than like a standard hard shell or rectangular cubic shape carry-on. So we used those my entire childhood. They're really affordable. We use the Rockland brand. You can get them on Amazon. So that's another suggestion that I have that are within those dimensions if you want to stay within those regulated dimensions. Number two is to bring a full-size backpack as your personal item. For whatever reason, some people feel like they can't bring a full, big, large backpack as their personal item. But the truth is, as long as you can fit it underneath the seat in front of you in the plane, it counts as your personal item. And you would be surprised at how large those personal item backpacks can be. For example, my personal item that I usually use is this massive, typically 30 to 40 pound camera backpack. That's what I use for my personal item on most of my trips. And I sometimes have to jam it under the seat in front of me, but it fits nonetheless, and therefore it counts as my personal item. Obviously, you might not use a backpack this large on a typical trip if you are not a photographer. Also, keep in mind that this whole part on top fills up, so it's massive. I just wanted to give you an idea as to like how large that backpack can actually be if you need the additional packing space. For this trip in particular, I'm actually not bringing my camera bag. It is not a work trip. It is a family trip. We have a formal event that we're going to, so I am using my base work tote, which is a great personal item because it has the trolley sleeve for easy travel. You can just put it on your luggage to be hands-free in the airport. Plus, it's chic enough where I can wear it to a formal event as a purse. So that's what I'm packing for this trip, but typically I would bring that massive backpack. Now, all that being said, in particular, the base carry-on roller and how it is a little bit larger than the regulated dimensions, if you choose to go with that roller, or any large roller in general, even the ones that do fit in the regulation dimensions, I always recommend to plan and be prepared to plane-side check your bag if it is necessary. Because sometimes when you're flying on small planes, small regional airlines, they do not have room in the overhead compartments for your carry-ons, which means you have to plane-side check them at the gate. I know a lot of people don't love this. I personally I'm not bothered by it at all because I do come prepared with a luggage cover over my suitcase just in case there is mishandling and I don't want my luggage to get damaged. But it is important to know if you're using a larger roller, you may be asked by the gate agents to plainside check it. This is typically free. This is typically very easy. You just drop it off at the end of the jet bridge before you get onto the plane, and then after the flight, you pick it up right there, or it'll go to baggage claim, they'll tell you. Anyways, all that to say, that is my third tip, to be prepared to plainside check your bag if it is necessary. Now for the actual packing. Number 4, you're gonna wanna match your outfits before you pack them. My favorite way to prevent overpacking is to match all of my outfits per day of my trip before I pack. Otherwise, I wind up packing way too many just in case tops, and I'll decide what to wear when I get there bottoms. Instead, I write out every date of our trip on paper with a quick note of what we're doing each day of the trip. That way I can quickly visualize what type of outfits I need to wear which days, and then proceed to physically try on those outfits to ensure I like their look and fit before I pack them in my luggage. Some may say this is overkill. I, again, as a chronic overpacker, think that it is necessary, because otherwise I'm like, oh, what if I don't like how this fits this day? Or, oh, what if I don't like this in the weather? I just like to be prepared, and that way I don't overpack any extra outfits, any extra t-shirts, anything like that. I pack only exactly what I need and nothing more. So for this particular trip, I have literally written out the days we're gonna be there, plus we have 2 travel days, plus I made notes of what we're gonna be doing those days so I know exactly what outfits I need to pack. So I have like 1 casual day where we might go sightseeing a little bit, and then 1 business attire day where we have our business attire event and we need to dress up. I've made notes of that. I've also made a note that I will need 3 days and 3 nights of outfits / pajamas, and it is going to be really hot. So I also made a note to myself that the UV index is going to be really high. I'm going to need some protection and cool clothes because it's gonna be 85+ degrees. All right, now that I have all of my outfits picked out exactly how I'm gonna wear them on the trip, I have them laid out, I'm about to pack them now. And as you can see, I have some thinner items like my travel day outfit, athleisure, some tops that are more thin, and then I also have some bulky items. So I have jeans and a sweater and blazer, dress pants, a sweatshirt for travel day. A, because I'll need them, and B, because now I can show you how to pack bulky items in your carry-on. And then I also have my underwear, socks, swimsuit, bras, and pajamas all packed in this compression cube already, ready to be put in my suitcase. Now it is time to actually pack all of those outfits that I just picked out, and we're gonna do so using packing cubes. Now, here's tip number 5, do not use packing cubes to pack more. This might sound confusing because most people use packing cubes to, in fact, pack more. But I want you to think of using packing cubes with a different goal. Because again, if you're anything like me and you're prone to overpacking, you're probably stuffing these compression packing cubes completely full anyway, rendering the compression zippers virtually useless, which means they don't necessarily help you pack more because you're already stuffing them just as full as you would stuff your suitcase without them. So instead, I use packing cubes to keep me organized throughout my entire trip. For example, I keep all my pre-matched outfits in one packing cube and all of my socks and underwear in the other packing cube. Once I'm on my trip, I then keep all of my clean clothes in one packing cube and switch all my dirty clothes into another packing cube. Also, another thing I really like about packing cubes when you're on a trip is that unpacking and repacking becomes so easy, because once you get to your hotel, all you have to do is take the entire packing cube out of your suitcase, put the entire packing cube into the hotel room drawer, and then you're literally unpacked. Then as I wear my clothes throughout the trip, I repack them back into my empty suitcase so that I am packed completely when it's time to leave the hotel room. Another common packing tip is to roll your clothes instead of folding them, and I actually disagree with this packing tip. If you've never heard of the roll don't fold method, it's basically that you're literally rolling your clothes instead of folding them into your suitcase, and people say that it helps you pack more clothes in your suitcase and also prevents wrinkles, which I do agree with both of those facts. Rolling your clothes does help prevent wrinkles from my experience, and also helps you pack more. But here's the thing, here's where I disagree. I don't actually think you should roll all of your clothing articles. So here's your carry-on packing tip number 6. roll your thin clothes and fold your thick clothes. Like I said, the roll don't fold method suggests that rolling all of your clothes instead of folding will allow you to fit more in your suitcase. While this seems to be true for most clothing articles such as t-shirts and pants, I have found that rolling thick clothing articles like thick sweaters and sweatshirts takes up more space than folding. So I recommend a combination. Roll your thin clothes, fold your thick clothes. Speaking of bulky clothing, number 7, you're gonna wanna wear your bulkiest shoes through the airport. Shoes take up a lot of luggage space regardless of whether you're checking a bag or packing a carry-on. Thus, wearing your bulkiest shoes through the airport is one of the best carry-on packing tips so you don't have to find the luggage space to pack them. Usually this means wearing your tennis shoes or your hiking boots through the airport. I know it's not as comfortable as wearing like slip-ons. Kind of a hassle when you're going through security and have to take off your shoes, but it's worth it, especially when you're trying to pack for a long trip in just a carry-on. And similarly, number 8, wear your jacket through the airport. Another common suitcase space sucker is your jacket or coat, which is why you should wear it through the airport. Again, not only will this save you a significant amount of suitcase space, but it'll also ensure that you stay warm in those cold, high altitude flights. I have to admit though, this carry-on packing tip has left me sweating in the airport when I'm trying to run from gate to gate, when I have a tight connection. Sometimes I do get warm in the airport wearing my jacket, so I'll tie it around my waist through the airport and I'll leave it as the last thing to pack in my suitcase so that if I have room after I've packed everything else, I can still put it in my carry-on and not have to wear it through the airport. And if I don't have space in my carry-on suitcase for it, then I'll wear it. Now let's move on to toiletries and liquids, because toiletries and liquids are a huge thing to consider when you're trying to pack carry-on only, especially those liquids in your precious limited liquid space when it comes to packing a carry-on. Number 9 is to use a hanging toiletry bag like this, especially if you're going on longer trips or you know that you're going to be having a lot of toiletries that you have to pack between skincare and makeup and dental care and shower products. I know that I have a lot of toiletries that I need to travel with and that I use on a daily basis. So I love using a hanging toiletry bag like this one because of course you can see it has a ton of space. The pockets are clear so you always know where to find all of your products without digging through your bag when you're on your trip. But more importantly, it's hanging so you can hang it anywhere and have easy access to all of your toiletries without taking up precious hotel room counter space. So when I'm on trips, I'll hang it like on the closet rod or a doorknob or a shower curtain rod or the mirror. I'll hang it up so that I always have easy access to all my toiletries. My countertops stay nice and organized and neat while I'm on the trip because you know those tight quarters can become messy real fast if you're not careful. And not only are hanging toiletry bags convenient for that purpose, but they're also really nice to pack for carry-on only because you can fold them pretty much however you need to in order for it to fit in your bag. So if you're packing a lot of toiletries and you need to like strategically pack them in your bag, you can still keep them in your toiletry bag nice and organized and kind of like lay it flat in your suitcase, or have one pocket tucked into your suitcase and the rest laying flat. Or of course you can have it zipped up and fold it into your suitcase like this. Basically, you get the idea. You can fold it a variety of ways to fit it in your suitcase next to everything else that is in your carry-on. Or number 10, if you don't have that many toiletries that you're packing or you're going on a shorter trip and therefore won't need as many toiletries, I recommend using a regular DOP kit instead of the hanging toiletry bag because the DOP kit obviously has a lot less surface area in and of itself, making it easier to pack. This is the DOP kit that I'm gonna be using for this trip also because it is a shorter trip and I won't need quite as many shower products or other toiletries. I really like the base DOP kit in particular because it has a bottom zipper compartment that is separate from the main compartment. So this is where I keep all my makeup and makeup brushes so that they're separate from like my other liquid toiletries when I'm on my trip, and they won't get dirty or messy. But my favorite feature is actually in the main compartment of the DOP kit, and that is the toothbrush pocket. It's a silicone plastic waterproof pocket that says toothbrush on it. It is designated specifically for your toothbrush, so you don't have to worry about putting your toothbrush in a Ziploc bag or putting a toothbrush cap on. It is nice and separate from all of your other toiletries. It's not just laying in your bag ready to get full of germs and dirt. I really love this pocket, and that is why I like the base DOP kit. So this is the one that I'm going to be packing for this short trip. Number 11 is to fill your own mini liquid containers. Buying TSA approved travel size liquids from, Target or Walmart or your Local convenience store can be tempting. However, for most trips, you probably don't actually need the full 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters of that product, which is why I found that personally, sometimes buying these travel size products can actually take up an unnecessary amount of my precious 1 quart allotment of liquids that I can bring in my carry-on. So instead, I will put them into my own containers, which are smaller, more compact. I can stack them together so that they fit in the quart size baggie better than if I were to have a bunch of different shaped containers. But also I have my own that are glass. They're glass mini jars for liquids that I use specifically because it is so easy to refill them with a new product, because all I have to do is stick them in the dishwasher. They're glass, they're dishwasher safe. Put them in the dishwasher, they're clean and ready to use for the next product. On the same note, you may be surprised to learn that you can actually turn some of your liquids into solids to save additional carry-on liquid space. For instance, if you're traveling with a watery skincare product such as toner, you can pre-soak cotton pads with the product and seal the cotton pads in a plastic baggie to eliminate an entire liquid product bottle from your liquid allowance altogether. Number 13 is to bring the bar forms of liquids as well. Today, many toiletries come in bar form. I'm talking lotion bars, sunscreen bars, shampoo bars, conditioner bars, body wash bars, obviously, and even shaving cream bars. Basically, considering bringing a bar form of the product or toiletry that you need to bring on your trip instead of the liquid product is gonna save you a ton of that precious liquid space when you're packing carry-on only. Bonus, if you get a tinted sunscreen stick, then you might not even want to or need to pack foundation, which is another liquid that you would otherwise need to pack. So that is another pro tip. A tinted sunscreen stick can save you double the liquids 2-in-1. Bonus tip, if you don't need the whole bar during your trip, you can save even more space by cutting off part of the bar with a butter knife and just packing a small chunk of the bar for your trip, just as much as you need for the duration of your trip. That's another way that's gonna make those products a lot more compact. Instead of packing, you know, a bunch of different bars, you can just pack a fraction of each of the bar. Also, if you travel with makeup remover, I really love bringing these makeup remover towels instead of a liquid makeup remover, because again, that'll save more on space. You could get makeup remover wipes too. That will save you on bringing liquid makeup remover, of course, but that's another option, another thing to consider when you're packing carry-on only and thinking about those liquids. Number 14 now is to keep those liquids easily accessible in your personal item, ready to go through security once you're at the airport. It always gives me secondhand stress when I'm behind someone in the airport and they are struggling trying to go through their personal item and their carry-ons to find those liquids, to find any liquid food items as the TSA agents are screaming at them. Oh my gosh, it gives me secondhand stress for them. Not that it's anything that they need to be embarrassed about, but I'm sure that it is stressful, which is why I always keep my quart-sized baggie of liquids on top of my personal item so that I can easily whip it out if I need to at the airport, at security, and it makes my security experience so seamless, so fast, and I'm able to zip through security without any problem. And remember, in the USA, the total allowance for liquid space to go through security when you're packing carry-on only is 1 quart-sized baggie, and all of the liquids in that baggie have to be 3.4 ounces or smaller. And lastly, number 15 is very similar to number 14, and that is that you should also keep all of your ID and travel documentation easily accessible in your personal item as well. When you're going through the airport, you will have to show your boarding pass, your ID, your passport, multiple times. You'll have to show it when you're at the ticket counter, you'll have to show it at security, you'll have to show it when you're boarding. You have to show it multiple times, which is why it's important to have it readily available, super accessible, so that you're not keeping the lines behind you waiting longer than necessary. Again, this is gonna save you a lot of stress. It's gonna keep the people behind you happy. It's gonna keep the gate agents and the security guards and everyone else happy. So it is always best to keep that easily accessible. For me, that means I usually travel with a belt bag through the airport. I have my passport, my wallet, my ID, my boarding pass, everything on my chest, like across my chest in my belt bag. Then once I'm boarding, because obviously I can't have more than one personal item, i.e. my belt bag and my personal item, I will take off the belt bag because it is small. I could just stick it right into my personal item and condense them so that I only have my personal item and my carry-on to board. Obviously, that is a tip that you've probably heard before, but it is important nonetheless, which is why I had to add it to these carry-on packing tips. And that completes this video. Now you have 15 carry-on packing tips that will help you pack so much more efficiently, so much more compact and condensed. And like I said at the beginning of this video, this is exactly how I've packed for 2-week plus trips in a carry-on only. I hope these tips were helpful. I do have 2 bonus tips in my blog post. I will leave that link in the description. So if you want to check out those 2 bonus tips, you can head to that blog post and check them out. Other than that, I will see you in next week's video. So for now, ciao.